we are looking at elasticity of demand. Now, elasticity of demand is defined as the degree of responsiveness to a little change in price, income, and taste. Degree of responsiveness to a little change in price, income, and taste. Now, what that is saying is that when there is a little change in price, what happens to demand? When there is a little change in income, what happens to demand? When there is a little change in taste or fashion, what happens to what? To demand. And that's what we want to be looking at in elasticity of demand. So, elasticity of demand is the degree of responsiveness to a little change in price, income, and what? Taste. So the types of elasticity of demand are: 1. Price elasticity. 2. Income elasticity. And 3. Cross elasticity. Those are the 3 types of elasticity of demand. You know, elasticity generally, what is trying to say is that, imagine you go to where they are selling sugar and you bought the sugar yesterday for 100 naira, and now you got there, they told you that the sugar is 120. You'll be wondering, how come? I still bought it yesterday for 100 naira. Now that little 20 naira increase may make you not to buy. Not that you don't have the money, but you are responding to that little change in price of sugar. And then that is what elasticity is about. So we are going to start with the first one, which is price elasticity of demand. Price elasticity of demand. Now, price elasticity of demand is the degree of responsiveness to a little change in price of a commodity. Is the degree of responsiveness to a little change in price of a commodity. So, and of course, the price elasticity of demand is always represented by EP. EP, where the E means elasticity and the P means price. So it is percentage change. The formula is percentage change in quantity demanded over percentage change in price. So if you want to write this in another way, our elasticity is Q2 minus Q1 over Q1 divided by P2 minus P1 over P1. And of course, you can rewrite this as Q2 minus Q1 over P1 divided by P2 minus P1 over P1. And of course, in mathematics, this divide, by the time it changes to times, P1 will come up, this one will come down. So, we can now say the formula for your price elasticity is Q2 minus Q1 all over Q1 times P1 over Q2 minus Q1. So, we can take this as our price elasticity formula. That is, divide change to times. P1 will come up, P2 minus P1 will come down. You get that? So, now taking a question on this one, let's say example 1. If the price of a commodity is 200 and the quantity demanded price reduces to 150, 60 units were demanded. Find the price elasticity of demand. Now look at this question. Here, they say the price of a commodity is 200 naira. Now solution. That means our P1 is 200. So they gave us P1 as 200. That's first price. And the quantity demanded is what? 50. So our P1 is 50. When the price reduces to 150, that's our second price, P2, 150. The quantity demanded is 60. So that's our second quantity. So using the formula above, your price elasticity will now be Q2 minus P1 over P1 times P1 over P2 minus P1. So your price elasticity is, what's our Q2? 60 minus P1 50 over P1 50 times P1 200 over P2 150 minus P1 200. So what's our price elasticity? 10 over 50 times 200 over minus 50. Are we together? So here, what do I have? So our price elasticity can now be what? So if I say 1 over 50 200 is 4. 1 times 4 over 50, or 1 times 4 over 5. How did I get that? 0 cancels 0. 50 cancels 200. You know, 50 and 200 is 4. I will be left with 100. 10 there 1, 10 is 55. So I still have minus. If you do this, what do you have? Minus 4 over 5. Now what's your answer? 0.1. 0.8 is that one. Now you always ignore the minus anytime you are doing elasticity of demand. Why? Because demand curve is expected to be negative. So here that our answer is 0.8. That means the demand is inelastic. And I'm going to explain that. The demand is inelastic. Now, because after solving a question, you must interpret. Anytime your price elasticity of demand is less than 1, the demand is said to be inelastic. And 0.8 is less than 1. Anytime your price elasticity is greater than 1, your demand is said to be elastic. And anytime your price elasticity is equal to 1, your demand is said to be what? Unitary. So at the end of every solution, you must always interpret your result. If your final answer is less than 1, inelastic, 1 unitary, more than 1 elastic. Do you get that? So that is an example of price elasticity. Now we're going to look at another example and then look at the cost. Okay. Now another thing we need to quickly look at is, in case you are given a question and then you are asked to use, because when you are doing price elasticity of demand, the formula I'm giving you is point price elasticity of demand, or that's like saying point elasticity. This is what I'm saying. Now if I have change in elasticity here is change in Q over change in P times P over Q. And this formula is the same thing as Q2 minus Q1 over Q1 times P1 over P2 minus Q1. The one I first used to solve. We call this point price elasticity. Now, they can also say you should use arc price. Arc price elasticity. That one is change in Q over change in P times P1 plus P2 over Q1 plus Q2, which is the same thing as Q2 minus Q1 over P2 minus P1 times P1 plus P2 over Q1 plus what? Q2. This is arc elasticity. So you might be given a question and it will ask you to use any of the formula. But in a situation where they may ask you to use any, use the first one. If they just say find price elasticity of demand, like the one we did the other time, you just use this one. But at times they will state that you should use arc price or use the two. So if I take the example of that one, now question can also be given to you in tabular form, where you have price in naira and quantity in kg. So you can have 100, 150, 80, 60. So then I'll say find the point price elasticity, and 2 arc price elasticity. So what that is saying is that use the first formula, use the second formula. Now if this is your price, the first price is your P1, the second price is your Q2. P2 rather. Okay? The first, this is quantity. The first value is your P1, the second value is your what? Your Q2. So if I allow to do point price elasticity, point price elasticity. So what will that give us? So Q2, what's our Q2? Our Q2 is what? 60 minus 80 over what? 80 times what's our P1? 100 over 150 minus 100. Am I right? So what's our price elasticity? Minus 20 over 80 times 100 over 50. So our price elasticity here can be, this is minus 1 over 4 times 100 divided by 50 is 2. So here I will have minus 2 over 4. That will be minus 0.5. I said always ignore the minus. Why? Because demand curve is a negative curve. You always have minus, so ignore it. Now our price elasticity here shows that the demand is what? Inelastic, because it is less than 1. Using point price. Now if I want to use arc price elasticity. Now arc price elasticity means that I'll use this formula. So what's our Q2? 60 minus 80 over 80 times P1 plus P2. That's 100 plus 150 over P1 plus Q2. 80 plus 60. So what would that give me? Sorry, this one is P2 minus P1. What's that? 150 minus 100. Do you understand? Q2 minus Q1, 60 minus 80 over 150 minus 200. So this one will give me what? Minus 20 over 50, right?
Yes.
So times 250 over what? 140. Am I right? So give me figure. Here I can say how many 20 can I see in 140? That is 7. How many 50 can I see in 250? That is 5. So eventually I will have minus 5 over 7. Ignoring the minus, what's 5 over 7?
0.7.
0.7 what?
14285.
Let's say 0.71. So the demand is also what? Inelastic. So this is using point price elasticity to find the elasticity, and then this is using arc price. The question can demand that you should do any of the store. Now it's also possible that you will be given a series of figures, like they give you price and then they give you quantity, and then you are given 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then you are also given 100, 80, 60, 40, 20. So they will give you, they can say this is A, B, C, D, E. They will now say at each point find price elasticity and arc elasticity. So what that means is that you first work with these two, get the answer. Then leave the first one, work with these two, get the answer. Leave this one, work with these two, get the answer. Leave that one, work with these two, get the answer. Okay. So that is going to be your assignment. For this table, find the price elasticity for each of the points and arc price elasticity. Now, the other time I established that still on price elasticity of demand, still on price elasticity. Now, if our price elasticity of demand, of course, is less than 1, we say the demand is what? Inelastic. Now, if our price elasticity is greater than 1, we say the demand is what? Elastic. If our price elasticity is equal to 1, we say the demand is what? Unitary. If our price elasticity of demand is infinity, we say the demand is perfectly elastic. And if our price elasticity is equal to 0, we say it is perfectly inelastic. Now, why I have to do this is because I want to explain the curve. Now, if you have a graph like this, so this one is perfectly elastic. You can see the price is not changing, the price remains constant. Because this is the place for price and this is the one for quantity. So when the price is constant, perfectly elastic. Now let me give the illustration. When do you say demand for a product is perfectly elastic? When the demand for that product is not determined by the price of the product, but by the quantity that is needed by the consumer. For example, let's take sweet. If you want to buy sweet, most of the time you don't likely ask for the price. You might just say, oh, give me 2 sweets there. How much? Why? Because what determines the number of sweets you buy is not because of the price, it's the number of sweets you are willing to, take. Or let's say you want to buy pure water. Most of the time you might just say, oh, give me 2 pure water, give me 3 pure water, depending on how many pure water you need. You are not really bothered about the price because you have the perfect knowledge of the market. So any product that behaves that way is what we call perfectly elastic demand. So a perfectly elastic demand is that type of demand that what determines the quantity you buy is not the price but other factors, and of course this is the curve for it. Now the second one you have is when you have fairly elastic. Fairly elastic. Now for fairly elastic, this is the type of commodity where a little change in price brings about wide change in quantity demanded. You see that? This is fairly elastic. So a little change in price brings about wide change in quantity demanded. What are the products that behave this way? For example, you can have a product like bread, like biscuits. These are products that the moment you increase the price a little, many people will not buy. Not because they can't afford it, but because people will just feel, why should I buy it? Imagine a sachet water is sold for 10 naira here in Nigeria. Bottled water is 50 naira. Now if they should increase the sachet water to 20 naira, a lot of people will not buy. Not because they can't afford it, but they will respond to that increase in price. Now why? Why should they be selling pure water for 20 naira? I would rather buy bottled water. And so you'll be shocked. So any product that wants to increase the price a little, plenty people will not buy it. Is what we call fairly elastic product. So the demand for a product is said to be fairly elastic when a little change in price brings about wide change in quantity demanded. Okay, and of course this is the core. Now the next one you have something like this. Where is your demand? Now this is perfectly inelastic. Perfectly inelastic. Demand for a product is said to be perfectly inelastic when the same quantity is demanded at different prices. Whether the price is 10,000, 50,000, 1,000, the same quantity is demanded. Now, product that behaves this way, basically, if you look at a product like salt, a rich man that want to cook a pot of soup will not say because he is rich he will use a bag of salt to cook. A poor man that want to cook soup also will not say because he is poor he won't use enough salt. So whether you are rich or poor, you are buying the same quantity of salt if you are cooking the same quantity of soup, irrespective of whether the price is high or the price is low. Another product that behaves that way is most of the time, if you look at most family, there's only one TV. Most family, average or poor. Now the same quantity demanded at different prices. Whether you now have plasma TV, black and white TV, or any other form of TV, at least you have one. So a product that the quantity remains unchanged, the quantity demanded remains unchanged as price changes, the demand for that product is said to be perfectly inelastic. Like as you can see here, I can buy at price 1 and buy at price 2. The quantity is still remaining the same. Whether they are selling the product for 1,000 or 1 million, they are still buying one because that's what we need. So demand for that product is perfectly inelastic. Then another one you have is fairly inelastic. Now fairly inelastic. What that is saying is that a demand for a product is said to be fairly inelastic when a wide change in price brings about small change in quantity demanded. The product that behaves like this very well in Nigeria is petrol. Fairly elastic, yes. Fairly inelastic. Sorry. So what this is saying, the product that behaves this way is petrol. If they increase the price of petrol today times 3, people will still buy. They may not be able to buy the quantity they used to buy before, but you will see that a lot of people will still. The people that will not buy will be very small. So any product that behaves that way, the demand for that product is said to be fairly inelastic. And of course, the last one that when you have a product that a change in price brings about equal proportion in change in quantity, demand for that type of product is said to be what? Unitary. The same change in price brings about the same change in quantity demanded. Demand for that type of product is said to be what? Unitary. So you need to get familiar with these curves. They are very important. So perfectly elastic, fairly elastic, perfectly inelastic, fairly inelastic, and unitary. So again, a demand for the product is said to be fair. So when you come on this one, of course, it will be like this. So demand for a product is said to be perfectly elastic when price remains constant as quantity changes. Demand for a product is said to be fairly elastic when the little change in price brings about wide change in quantity demanded. Demand for a product is said to be perfectly inelastic when at different prices the same quantity is purchased or demanded, or at the point where quantity is constant, price changes. Then demand for a product is said to be fairly inelastic when a wide change in price brings about just a little change in quantity demanded. And of course, if a change in price brings about proportional change in quantity demanded, demand for that product is said to be unitary. So with this, we have come to the end of elasticity, price elasticity of demand. So we are now going to be looking at income elasticity of demand.